Page 37, please, members. Item 7. Okay, this is a proposed fire station with associated car parking, vehicle and pedestrian access, training tower, pod garages, hard standing and landscaping. I'd like our officer now to introduce this. Cathy Bay, over to you, please.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, members. You've been to the application site today. It's an open field, approximately 1.3 hectares in area, located in the Mollington area to the north of the village of Sorgall, adjacent to the embankment of the A494 classified road. The application proposes a fire station, car parking, new access, training tower, garages, hard surfacing and landscaping. The information put forward as part of the application indicates that the operational fire station would provide cover for Chester, Ellesmere Port and potentially Neston, as well as the motorway network and a hub for more specialised emergency vehicles for wider deployment. The support information also includes details of the site selection process, the merits of the proposal and information behind the need of the proposal. Based on the information provided, the local planning authority is satisfied that very special circumstances have been demonstrated. The site is within the North Cheshire Greenbelt, so any developments of this type would be contrary to policy unless very special circumstances are demonstrated. Just to point out as well, similar to the Odeon application, this is a significant departure, so would have to be sent to the Secretary of State as well.
Thank you. We'll start with the speakers, please. Ray McHale, please. Afternoon, Ms. McHale. You have 3 minutes. When the amber light comes on, you'll have 1 minute remaining. Thank you.
I'm here to urge you to reject this planning application because, in my view, the very special circumstances asserted by the planning officer do not actually exist. The incident attendance standards referred to in this application are largely self-determined, recently adopted and irrelevant to the planning application, but are claimed as a key justification for the selected location. Councillors risk being bamboozled into agreeing a development that exceptionally breaches Greenbelt policy just to save the fire service money. You would not do this for a private business. This proposal is about reducing the 4 full-time pumps, 2 at Chester and 2 at Ellesmere Port, to 3 full-time pumps and the other one staffed on an on-call basis. It says the full-time pump moved from Chester to this station could reach half of Chester within 10 minutes. However, currently based in Chester, it can reach all of Chester within 10 minutes, so there is no service improvement. The cover provided for Neston from Heswell is not changed by this proposal. This is a red herring, as there is no indication that this will not continue to be the case. The application asserts that this station needs to be located close to the A5117/A540 junction, despite always having been termed the M56-M53 junction proposal. There is no clear basis for this new assertion. No maps are provided showing coverage if the station were, for instance, to be located near to Cheshire Oaks. Good access to the motorway network is a clear aim because traffic accidents constitute an increasing proportion of call-outs, but the M53 cannot be accessed from the M56 when approached from this proposed location. Response vehicles would have to travel along the A5117 to the Cheshire Oaks junction. There are clearly numerous suitable areas of commercial land available close to the M53-M56 junction which are not green belt. This application itself identifies 3 alternative brownfield sites which it claims are not available, which potentially are. The Oakwood Farm site, where negotiations with this council about additional land have not been concluded. The HLL Davis site, which they say is too large, which could be purchased and the excess sold. And the Little Chef site, which the fire service dismissed because they prefer purchase rather than lease. These are not reasons to rule out sites in favour of impinging on the green belt. Even if this were the only site available, the proposal is a highly intrusive 5-bay, 2-storey warehouse-type development. This is considerably above actual requirements, but is justified by proposals to move specialist equipment there, which is currently satisfactorily accommodated in urban stations.
Thank you, Mr. Hayes. Thank you. Richard Oates, please.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, members. My name is Richard Ost. I'm the Assistant Chief Officer for Cheshire Fire and Rescue Service. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to outline some of the key issues about our proposed fire station. This is one of 4 new stations we are planning to build as part of our major programme, which will improve how we deliver our emergency response service in the future. Of these 4 stations, 2 have already received planning permission in Alsager and Lymm. The other one at Penketh has been considered this evening at Warrington Planning Committee. The programme was developed in 2012 following extensive consultation with a clear focus on improving the efficiency and effectiveness of the emergency response we provide to all those who live, work or travel across Cheshire, Warrington and Holton. The proposed fire station is to provide cover to Chester, Ellesmere Port, Neston and the local area, as well as providing a more effective response to road traffic collisions on the nearby motorway network. In addition, the fire station will provide a basis for specialist firefighting vehicles which can be deployed regionally and nationally to respond to emergencies via the M56. Our technical analysis and modelling identify that the ideal site for a new fire station will be close as possible to the A5117, A540 junction. Most of the search area is within Greenbelt, and after detailed assessment and investigation of all alternative sites, the proposed site emerged as the only one which met our criteria and was available. The Fire Authority has been keen to listen to the views of the community, and as part of this application, we held a public exhibition. The feedback received has led to changes being made to the design. An example of this is how we've improved the footpath and bridleway along Parry Lane to provide separation between the fire station and horses at the junction with the A1557, following the concerns expressed by the local riding centre. Although not part of the planning process, I thought it might be worth to give reassurance to members and to the public around some of the scaremongering that has followed this application. The Fire Authority has no plans to close Chester and Ellesmere Port fire stations as part of this proposal. It's about building 4 new fire stations across Cheshire to improve our emergency response to the community we serve. The proposed development is supported by the Council and the statutory consultees and represents a chance to improve the response times to life risk incidents in this part of Cheshire. I hope you can support the proposal, follow the officer's recommendation and approve our application. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Sullivan, please.
This application because it affects Chester and because it's for the green belt surrounding Chester. I understand the need to improve operational efficiency and their work is obviously to be commended. This application has been stated by our country's national planning policy inappropriate. In the design and access statement that accompanies the application, the stated objective of the local for emergencies is possible and the reason given by previous speakers. Some of the sites identified in the report were never ever realistic. I do understand why the Fire Authority have not shown us the different response times possible from other non-green belt sites. So we cannot judge whether the time difference justifies the impact through the loss of the green belt. Like an earlier speaker, I also think the Cheshire Oak site would be a reasonable alternative, but I can't evaluate that because I don't know what the time difference on responses are. I'm also concerned as a Chester member that Chester Fire Station will be reduced to 1 appliance. Will that be sufficient if we have a major fire in our historic centre? I am aware of the excellent fire protection work carried out on the roads and other key parts of our heritage, but can we be assured that the risk has been properly assessed? If you only require 1 appliance to deal with road traffic accidents, why are 5 bays needed in this proposed new development, and why is an intrusive training tower needed? I also would ask you to refuse the application and ask the Fire Authority to find a non-greenbelt location for this facility. If you can't find that, then you need to find justification in terms of the time response from different options in terms of justifying encroachment on the greenbelt. And I would also suggest that you should be looking for a smaller facility that's less obtrusive in the greenbelt site. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, members, over to you. Any questions, please? Councillor Welton.
Can I just have some clarification from our highways officer about the linkages between the M53-56 by using the A5117, please?
Through you, Chair. Yes, I mean, you come out the site onto the A5117, and if you're heading towards the M56, it's a couple of hundred yards to go into the end of the M56 there. If you're heading towards the M53, I suppose it depends whether you want to head north or south on the M53. The shortest, most direct route is through Cheshire Oaks, so along the A5117 all the way to Junction 10. The alternative route is to turn out of the site right onto the A540, up to the A540 to the A550, turn right there, and then follow that through to the Hooton interchange on the M53. So I suppose it depends which end you're actually heading towards. So that's a bit more of a convoluted route, but in terms of distance, it's probably slightly shorter going the A5117 route. And as we all know, they'll get along that route as quick as they can with their lights on. There's not much that holds them up.
Any other members? I'd just like to mention something. It mentions about horses in the area and using the sirens. Does they give us any sort of insurance that they won't turn them on and sort of actually engage the main traffic, that kind of thing?
Yes, Chair. The application indicates that the sirens would only be used upon exit of the site when there is traffic congestion. And given that congestion is highly unlikely in the evenings and during the night, it's unlikely that the sirens would be used at these particularly sensitive times.
Thank you. Okay. Any more questions, members?
Question, actually. I think budgets have been reduced for Cheshire Fire Service, and we've got to recognise that. We've got to work within those reductions, but we've also got to recognise that they provide good home cover for our county around us. And these changes have been well researched, and decisions have been made, in my opinion, within the budgets, which are the correct ones.
Thank you. Anybody else? Councillor Clayton.
Yes, I mean, I don't know whether it was actually arranged, but when we were on the bus today, 2 fire engines came flying around the Northgate roundabout and were stuck because they'd come out of the fire station in Chester and were stuck in the traffic and the sirens were going. And we thought that possibly the fire brigade had arranged this purposely because they knew our bus was there, but probably not. But they were clearly going up to the motorway. That was where they were heading, in that direction. And, you know, to me, it did sort of say, well, yes, if they were where this site was, they would have been there a lot quicker. Because they were stuck in the city centre traffic, which we've all been in. And, you know, I think that this is actually a good move to move it out, to move it away from where all the heavy traffic is, to where they are most needed. A lot of us get the fire reports and we see where the fire brigade go. And there are fewer and fewer house fires that they go to, but more and more road accidents they go to sadly have to cut people out or whatever. And I think this is a good move. It's not actually taking all the cover away from the city centre of Chester or from Ellesmere Port. They're not being closed. But it is, if you like, additionality. And I know it's in the green belt and we've got to make sure that that is very special circumstances, but actually I believe this is one of those cases which is a special circumstance.
Martha, please.
Carrying on from what Councillor Claydon said about special circumstances, I don't think there can be any more special circumstances than saving lives. Chairman.
Thank you. Councillor Williams, please.
Thank you, Chair. There's not much else to add really. It's part of the fuel station plan. It's suitable for that area. It's near the motorways. It's a good location, and it does show very special circumstances. So I support this one.
Thank you. Councillor Butcher, please.
This is an application, as are many, where in fact we have to make a balanced judgment. There are arguments, green belt on one side, and there are arguments about safety and the functioning of the service on the other side. And it is really a question of which side of the argument you ultimately come down on. There isn't an ideal because of taking from the green belt, but there are special circumstances. If it's not located here, then in fact the price may be potentially higher than we would find acceptable.
Thank you. Members, this is down for approval by our officers, subject to the conditions on page 47. Do I have a proposer, please?
Can I propose?
Sorry.
Can I propose, Chairman?
Councillor Parker proposed. Second, please. Second, Councillor Beckett. Have a show of hands for the approval, please. That's unanimous. Thank you, members.